everybody. It's so delightful to be back here in person, and congratulations to the TÜYID team, to Bülent, and Asli for organizing this event. So it's awards time, I guess. One of the things I took away from last session is that we all don't want to be handbags, and I think I completely agree with that. And I want to add to Müge's point, actually. George Bernard Shaw said that progress is impossible without change. So we all need to keep changing, and managing change requires you to measure your performance on a regular basis, and this is exactly what the Institutional Investor Emerging EMEA Executive Team Survey does. We, for some of you who are familiar with it, the survey actually scopes a large audience of investment professionals globally. That includes senior investment managers, portfolio managers, buy-side analysts, but also the brokers that you're engaging with on a regular basis. And these individuals are basically participating in the survey to assess over 20 performance metrics across your IR activities, including the C-suite, including your financial disclosure, your earnings calls, your financial disclosure, the granularity, the timing to market, and all other aspects as well. In terms of methodology, it's really important for you to understand that the individuals that are participating have been pre-vetted and verified, so they have to be either invested in your stock, they certainly have to be invested in the region, or invested in your peers. On the broker side, they have to have produced research on your company over the last 12 to 18 months, and that's really important because we want to collect and obtain feedback that is relevant to you, that allows you to understand what the market sentiment is, and again, to the point of change, to understand what you need to do to change and optimize your outreach. Bülent has actually asked me to just provide a few sort of statistics and trends around the survey. We've actually seen that over 250 companies were assessed as part of the emerging EMEA market. 448 individuals, that include CEOs, CFOs, and IR professionals, were assessed. Actually, Turkey captures 17% of the nominee universe, which is actually fantastic. One obviously key element to this year's survey is that we had to exclude the Russian nominee as well as investment professional universe, which actually makes up around 10 to 15%, so that has decreased. However, what we've seen is that the level of feedback we have generated has actually increased by over 230%. So that means people are actually spending a lot more time evaluating, the different details and activities of your IR engagement and IR deliverables. So this is really important to bear that in mind in terms of the breadth and the depth of the data that should for you be actionable insights to help you improve what you're doing. Turkish companies actually dominate our leader table in 6 sectors across all the 11 sectors that we're covering, which is a fantastic result. We've seen an increase in CEO and CFO nomination by over 21%. So this is a really good sign because you're actually allowing C-suite to engage with your investor community, which is really important in terms of credibility and trust in the company. So it's really critical. What we have seen, and this is a very competitive space here in Turkey, and I see really phenomenal talent in Turkey, but we've seen a decrease in the IRO professional nomination. So that's actually gone down by 13%. So you need to be mindful of that. In terms of the voter universe, we've seen an increase of 8% on the buy side, which is fantastic, which is exactly the direction we want to take it. We've seen an increase in international investors coming out of the US, coming out of the UK, South Africa, Greece, India, UAE, and so on. Turkey has actually also contributed a large proportion of the voting as part of the survey process. And industries such as the industrials, as well as TMT, have really been winners in this year's survey. Oil and gas, consumer, and financials have actually declined year on year. One of the things that we're also looking at is actually the trends in corporate activity. And one of the key things that really stood out for me is budgets. IR budgets are relatively small compared to your emerging EMEA peers. And I appeal to the CFOs that are in here for your IROs to do a good job. They need to be resourced properly. And the important thing is how you actually allocate your budget. So we're seeing that the allocation of your budget is primarily focused on your roadshows, which is a positive thing because that means that you're engaging proactively with your investor community, but it's also including AGM. The one thing that I've noted is that all the strategic elements of your IR program, your IR activity, that's really lacking. So shareholder ID, and I know it's not straightforward in Turkey, targeting, perception analysis, all of these things that actually allow you to identify your positioning in the market in terms of feedback from the shareholder universe, that is something that will help you shape your IR program moving forward and optimize it and really, focus on the areas that you're underperforming in. So bear that in mind as well, and the CFOs, loosen your pockets just in the slightest. ESG is obviously a big topic, and we all know it's here to stay, and companies are really resourcing accordingly to provide the right kind of transparent disclosure and communication around that. What is interesting to see is that 95% of Turkish companies have actually identified their material metrics, which is a positive, and 81% of Turkish companies feel that they are actually very confident in their financial disclosure. So there's a real positive momentum there in terms of ESG disclosure. The one thing I want to add, and this will be my final point before I hand over to Sevinç to run the awards, is that 8% of Turkish companies, actually I should say only 8% of Turkish companies have fully integrated ESG into their overall IR communication. So we need to understand that ESG is not an add-on, and I know there will be panels around that, so it's not an additional kind of area that you're focusing on, but it should be all integrated into your engagement, into your communication, and it should really shape how you're engaging with your investor community. So with that said, congratulations to all the winners and the nominees, and if you want more detail, there's plenty more data that may help you understand the survey better and your position within the survey position. Do let me know, come and speak to me, but for now, congratulations to the nominees and winners. Thank you very much.